You God, I'm so funny, man. I am just hilarious. And look at all of our hero nurses back there. Back in the doorway. Can you see them? I'm sure we have more of them, but they haven't come forward yet. But if you're a member, you know, you're a regular on the channel or like a channel member or whatever, let me know and I'll send you one of the Freak Heart mugs. If you're just somebody randomly coming by, maybe be here for a little bit of time, all right? You know. What do we got here? Yeah, look at that, everybody. It's Crystal, a.k.a. Beaver Gaming Sub. The longest name in YouTube history. Can you see that? Wow. She's here. I actually did. I did contact her. She finally got back to one of my emails yesterday. I was like, "Where the hell are you?" You know. And then Carrie Boyer over there. She lost an eyeball in a freak lawnmower accident. I don't know why I talk about it sort of lightheartedly because, you know, even though that's really shitty and nobody wants to lose an eyeball, it was hilarious because she was in our chat like the day she lost her eyeball. Not missing a show. Hey, everybody, I'm here. Oh, by the way, I lost an eyeball earlier. I just thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, if I lost an eyeball, I definitely would miss my show, you know? I'd probably be lamenting somewhere. But anyways, I thought it was pretty funny that you actually showed up here and were watching a show. Hey, thanks, Sylvia Marie. Yeah, if anybody wants to join the channel, please do so. There's 3 different tiers in there. I might make another tier, I was thinking, and in that tier you would get a t-shirt and a hoodie every year of some sort. But it'd be more, you know, obviously more expensive. But so far I just have a 2, 5, and a 10, but everybody get, and it's really just that you want to support the channel. And I post, sometimes I do make posts in the community section that only like the Megazoids get to see. That's about it. What was that? Oh, that was the member. I thought somebody did one of the face masks on me for a second. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I do make posts a lot in the community section that only members get to see, and then some only the $5 and up get to see. I don't know if you guys, if they realize that, but so there you go. That's that aspect. Yeah, and by the way, John messaged me and he said that the timeline that he said when he got in that incident with Barry in Indiana was actually, it was late. It was in December of 2017. Okay, well, I think he might have said early 2019, but it was late December 2017. And it appears to be real because I actually found, well, I didn't find it. Somebody posted a screenshot of basically like a write-up on the incident, and it was old. All right, so for those of you who think he's making something up, that's not happening. Hey, thanks Paisley Dreams and Carrie Boyer. Hey, and thanks Carla Hussey. Or is that Husey? You know, like Jay Case always says. Oh, a Megazoid. All right, thank you. Yeah, I lost the lady, the girl.
Hope you are well, dear.
I feel sort of the only, you know, the other night when we were when I was interviewing, actually last night when I was interviewing, the guest that we had on, there was people making comments in the chat about, oh wow, why is he doing it here? Why are they airing their dirty laundry here? And I got pissed off, and you know, I probably shouldn't.
I skipped slightly smiling face.
I probably shouldn't get pissed off at that kind of stuff, but it just does because I want to have my guests, especially ones that are talking about something that's kind of controversial or, you know, a pretty serious matter, that they feel comfortable without having people making comments in there. Well, it turns out that that person was a patron and then said, "Oh, I can't be a patron anymore because you got mad at me." You know, it's like, hey, listen, that's fine. I mean, it's okay if you don't want to be a patron on Patreon anymore. Okay? I don't even care. To be honest with you, I don't care if you watch the channel. If you're going to be rude in the comments section while I have a guest on, I don't mind if after he's gone you speculate about, you know, what might be going on, and we can discuss that. Okay? But to sit there and, I don't know, it just really, really bothered me a little bit. So that's what it is. And if those are if I lose people who do that, it won't bother me. Okay? It really doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it does suck to lose the financial support like that, but at the same time, you know, I value sort of just, you know, so I value other things more than money. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to fill that in. So let's see. Hey, thank you, Carla. Very cool. Very cool. Wow, thank you very much. I usually sing along with that one, but I was just looking at how happy the pair is that's dancing there. Yeah, well, thank you very much. Hey, Ann Lane, you seem really. Listen. I don't want to cause you problems, but what she's trying to imply is that Barry is somehow the Delphi, you know, related to the Delphi killer or something like that. Okay, I'm just not interested in talking about it. You sent me an email. I just. What you're bringing up and all that stuff, I just am not interested in it. Okay, what's funny is before this all started, once I realized that he went from Indiana to Colorado, I realized that I made a joke to Ada, my friend. I said, "Hey, let's tie it into Delphi somehow." You know, as a joke, because that's what people do. And it was a joke, and then boom, there it is. 2 or 3 different people on the internet already making that ridiculous comment. Well, I saw your comment in the comment section, Ann, so I don't know why you're saying what's Delphi. Anyways, listen, I don't want to discuss what you want to talk about, Ann. If you want to send like a really long email explaining everything, you're doing the cloak and dagger stuff like, well, it's not something I can just say right here. Okay, listen, just send an email. All right? Yeah. Send an email, and we'll talk about that one later, but I don't want to be talking about what you want to talk about, all right? Excellent. Let's see. Now, before we get into the main cases today, how many of you haven't heard of the Rachael Deltondo case? Put a 1 if you have not heard of that. Because that one I needed a chart just like, and that's actually where I started doing the charts. Because in the Lori Daybell case, that chart's nothing compared to this one. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Rachael Deltondo was one of my first sort of cases that I really kept following, did deeper dive into. All right, Cairo, come on. Cairo was there. He went to the Hank's Frozen Custard and filmed a guy on probably meth or something dancing. Remember that one, Cairo? Oh, yeah? Well, cool. I'm going to go over it in summary tonight because there's been an update in that one. And you guys will just be blown away. It's literally, if I can remember it, I have to do it by memory and a little bit of timeline stuff that I have. But it's insane. It's really one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I mean, okay, put a 1 in there if you think it's really one of the most complicated, crazy cases. I mean, now that Lori Daybell's out there, you got one that's a pretty good rival to it. Might even beat it a little bit, but that one was right there. Yeah, it was just crazy. That is a lot of ones. I know, I was kind of surprised there, Cairo. I guess we just haven't talked about it for so long now. It's been probably, I bet you, a year. Time just flies by really fast. Yeah. Okay. So before we even get started on that, though, I'm going to... Let's see. There's this other case that's breaking in Georgia, and it's really pretty weird. So let's take a look at this really fast. GBI releases new information into double murder. Hey, thank you, Miss Skess. And thank you, Claudia Dubauer.
I was gonna upgrade my membership to make up for that lost Patreon, but I think I'm already...
Yeah, you're fine.
At the highest face with tears of joy, Megazoid. Love you, Bray and Freak family. Growing heart face, blowing a kiss, bomb, bomb, bomb.
Thank you, Streamlabs, for accurately reporting all the emojis at the end. Yeah, I haven't created that next tier yet, so I'll let you guys know when it's out there if you want to do it'll be like you get a shirt off the bat, and then after 6 months a hoodie or something like that. Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard of this one right here. Thanks, Carrie Boyer. I'm going to call her One-Eyed Jack.
Thank you for everything you do for the victims.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. So this one's nuts here. Let's see. Let's just read through this article here. They're all in the description of the video, but there's new information into a double murder. I've been following this. People have been, well, one or two people have messaged me or sent me emails about this one. The vehicle attached belonged to the victim, Vanita Richardson. The investigation has shown that both Vanita Richardson and Trevinia Campbell were in the vehicle during the evening of Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. The vehicle location is not known at this time, but investigators believe that it could be somewhere in the metro Atlanta area. And this is what the vehicle looks like. It's a 1997 Toyota Corolla, golden color, and the license plate is RTJ6295. Now listen to this crap here. Please note that the attached photograph is not the actual vehicle, but is the same make. Okay. The bodies were removed from an area underneath a bridge on the Loop 1 near Grizzard Park Wednesday afternoon. Reports said that the bodies were discovered by a Department of Transportation crew, which seemed to find a lot of bodies, doing work on the bridge. According to Floyd County Coroner's Office, the victims have been identified as 19 and 30-year-old females. Family and friends of Anita Richardson, 19, and her sister, Tuvinia Campbell, 30, went to social media Wednesday to mourn the loss. Authorities also did not state how long they may have been in the location. The GBI has asked the community's assistance to anyone who may have seen any suspicious activity along the bypass near Gizzard Park between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. Okay, so that's just sort of the basic information, but this story right here, I think this one might have a little bit more information. Their bodies were actually found with plastic bags on their heads. Okay? And they were just sort of like put underneath the bridge there. It's crazy. Investigators seeking assistance. Okay, that one's already out there. Let me type in her name again really quick. Up here. Alright, here we go. This is them right here. Thank you, Gloria.
Classmates
Second.
and teachers calling her fun-loving, humble, excited about her future. The GBI interviewing everyone in the women's lives to try to track down the killer or killers and looking for Vanita's car. And the GBI is also trying to establish what the motive might have been as they try to reconstruct the final hours of the sisters' lives and figure out everyone.
Okay, let me go through this. Phone calls, tips, and leads are pouring in. The preliminary autopsy ruled the woman's deaths were homicide, but Joe Montgomery, the GBI special agent in charge in Calhoun, would not disclose any other details about the causes of their deaths. He said it is possible there are at least 2 killers who attacked Campbell and Richardson. They had bags over their heads at the time they were found, Montgomery said. They'd obviously been dropped from the bridge. Oh, Jesus. So the car pulled up along this bridge and just dumped them off the side. Let's see if we can get that bridge. Under a bridge in Rome. Let's see if that, there we go.
2 bodies found under an overpass in northwest Georgia. Rome police called in state investigators to help figure out what happened. 11 Live Sky Tracker shows traffic blocked near Loop 1 at Etowah Bridge as investigators search the area. Now, we are working to get more information from police about what happened. For the latest updates, download the 11 Alive app.
I don't know if that... No, maybe that's it.
But first, a tragic discovery. A high school
like
senior found killed just days before her graduation, along with her older stepsister.
It is still a mystery
sorry about that,
what
guys.
exactly happened more than 24 hours after their bodies were found.
So there's that bridge. I don't know if that's the same. Let me take a look at that. Oh, that's some helicopter footage. Don't you love that sound that those helicopters make? It's awesome. Discovered off Loop 1 at Etowah Bridge near Rome. Well, that's called Etowah Bridge, but let's say Loop 1. Let me type that in. Okay, that's Loop 1. Well, I'll check on this later. What I'll do is I'll get more information on this one and actually put it together. I just wanted to bring it up because it just sounded so creepy with the bags on their heads. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, and listen, Cairo's been everywhere in the country basically, so if he says it's a shithole, then it probably is. Yeah, so apparently their bodies were thrown off the side of the bridge and they had plastic bags over their heads. And I think I might actually have to go onto the... If you guys see any updates or anything like that, make sure you send them to me. I might have to join one of the Facebook pages, see what's going on. It's weird that 2 people might be involved. Yeah, absolutely crazy. All right, now I'm going to switch over to Morphew now really quick because there was the police over there just put out a... this is sent me by my buddy. Let me read it from over here. I forgot to take her off of there. It's not the real name anyways. Let's see. It said May 17th, members of Chaffee County Sheriff's Office with assistance from Colorado Bureau of Investigation the CBI and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong. Hold on a second. Morphew. Right there. That's what I meant to go to. It's got so many pins on here. You know what's amazing? Like if I zoom out on Google Earth, it just closed down. Google Earth did. So hold on a second. If I zoom out on Google Earth, you'll see a bunch of pins, but that's because I turned off 90% of them. It just keeps building up and building up. I have literally hundreds of folders for different cases, and I always tell people the best place to move, yeah, I mean, that's literally nothing compared to what it normally looks like. If you're going to move anywhere, just move right there. There's never pins in this area for some reason. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the interview, the redo of it, where I put it out in its shorter form and then had an introduction in it myself instead of just randomly putting it out there. It starts kind of cold because we were talking, trying to get the screen set up, and then he just started talking about it. So there isn't really a smooth, hey everybody, this is John, and okay, so as we know right now, apparently on Mother's Day, and it's interesting because Rachael Deltondo, which we'll be talking about mostly tonight, she was murdered on Mother's Day. So it's kind of this weird synchronicity here. She went missing, Suzanne Morphew, on Mother's Day apparently, and her kids think she took a bike ride, okay? And I don't know if they think that because they got a text from her or how they knew that. It changes a lot if literally her children say, oh yeah, she called and said she was going on a bike ride. Then I would believe she went on a bike ride, or at least intended to go on a bike ride. If it's a text message from her phone to the children, then we have no idea. Because as we've seen a million times on this channel, that there are so many cases where the killer sends text messages from the victim's phone to throw people off. Right? And if you were going to leave a bike on the... Let's say you were going to leave a bike on the road to stage it. Well, what would you do? You would then need to send a text message saying, oh yeah, I'm going biking. And from that phone to make it look like you're biking, then when they find the bike there, oh, it all makes sense. Okay, that's how that works. We just don't know if that's what happened at all, but I'm just saying that that could be. I haven't seen any evidence yet that she literally went biking. There's nobody out there that said that, oh yes, she's seen on surveillance. There was somebody who was saying that, but it turns out that they were completely wrong and they reposted saying that. So apparently, though, the story is that she went biking and then was on 225 and then went to 50. They found some items with an S of hers in the area sort of near her home, but down a ravine or, somewhere on the side of 50 right here. So I was thinking maybe in this area. But they did search this 2.5 mile stretch here, and they didn't find any other items other than the ones that they had reported on. And they never told us what those items were. Now, an item can be a bike. They still haven't admitted that they found a bike. But when you say items, we know it's a bike and something else. Could those be shoes? Could they be a cell phone? They could be a million different things. But they were determined to be her items. So you have the bike and other items. I mean, items could include the bike and one other item. Or multiple other items. Hey, thank you, Amy Higg. Yeah, well, thanks, Amy. I felt bad that I made somebody feel like that, but at the same time, I was so disappointed to have people in there talking about, oh, yeah, well, this guy shouldn't air his dirty laundry on your show. And I'm like, well, who the hell are you? This guy's just on here as a guest. Can you let him at least...
2 bodies found under an overpass in northwest Georgia. Rome police called in state investigators.
Thank you for what you do. Don't worry about losing people because we the freak family will make up for it in the long run. Smiling face with hearts, smiling face with heart eyes, face blowing a kiss, money mouth face.
And again, thank you, Streamlabs, for that description. Money mouth face, huh? You know what's weird about Streamlabs is it always has this long pause even without a period, and it goes to the next line. They need to fix that one too. Okay, yeah, let me show you. Somebody asked about the map. This would be your house right here, right? So just watch. You would get on your bike, and you probably wouldn't go that way. That looks like that ends, right? So if she was going to bike, she'd get on her bike, go down this way, and then right here, I think it's called 225 right here. This is just a driveway. Then 225, and that continues off that way. But then it also goes this way over here. There is a pond over here, and I know that they've checked a bunch of different waterways over here. But it goes like this, 225, and then a right. That's another driveway right there to another house. It isn't, I keep hearing people call it, oh, it's desolate out there. I can't remember who was that in here that used to say desolate all the time. I can't remember who that was. Does anybody remember? But it's not desolate, okay? It's literally, it's just one of those nice sort of ranch areas where, look, there's a home there, 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 there's a home there. There's homes around, they just all have a lot of acreage. That was you, Joan Milano. That's right, there you go, I remember that. Now that you refresh it. Yeah, do you consider this desolate, Joan Milano? See, I don't. But I've seen people type that in the comment section. Anyways, well, even if you do, it won't bother me. It just doesn't feel like it to me. Anyways, you're driving this way, a bike, and then you go on the 225 right there, and then you go around this corner, and then boom, you're right on the 50. We can go down the street view there and see what that would look like. I mean, people look like they park there. Maybe they park there and go biking sometimes. I don't know. I wouldn't want to bike here. I mean, look how narrow that side is, which would be the safe side. But on this side, if you just even went off at all, you'd fall down a really steep ravine. And what we showed the other night on the show was that it's actually right there is elevation 8,804 feet above sea level. And then down here is 8,746. So that's actually 54 plus 8, 62 feet lower down, just right down there. So it's really pretty steep little side of the road there. But here's the thing, look at that, everybody. So even though there's some trees certain times a year, look how patchy that is. I mean, if you fell off down there and got injured, they would find you in a second. No chance they would. All right. So basically, that's it. I mean, we don't even know if they found the bike officially, but it sounds like they did. Okay. There's family members and so forth bringing up that the bike was found. Some people say it was parked up against next to a tree, all kinds of different things. We don't know. We know that the daughters were apparently camping, but again, we don't really know what they were doing, because the media or the officials aren't saying it. And also, if you heard like a news outlet mention it, they probably would have got the information from a source. So the thing is, apparently, that's all I can say, is that the daughters were on a camping trip that was pre-planned, and then the father was in Denver. So she was apparently alone at home, and then somehow she goes biking and she just disappears off the face of the earth biking. That's why I originally thought, well, gosh, how do we know she even went biking at all? Because when there's nobody there at all to witness it, you have to sort of suspect or think of different reasons things might appear the way they are, like a bike just sitting there. Well, how do you know they went biking? Well, the daughters apparently hadn't heard from her and had known that she was going to go biking, and then called the neighbor, and the neighbor didn't see her, and then I guess the neighbor then called police. But the thing is how do we know? How did the daughters know that she was biking? And that's a really big part of the story. It's just how did they know that she went biking? And apparently right now, this is what I was going to bring up, is the press release that came out this evening. It said members of the Chaffee County, let me move it over here. I'm having a hard time turning my head all the way around. Members of the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, with assistance from Colorado Bureau of Investigation and Federal Bureau of Investigation, continue the search for Suzanne Morphew. Miss Morphew is a Chaffee County woman reported missing on May 10th, 2020, which was Mother's Day. On Sunday, May 17th, members of the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office dive rescue team searched water sites in the area. So today they were checking probably those ponds that I was mentioning the other night. This one right there. The creek right there is probably a little higher than normal because maybe there's some runoff. And, there's just other little ponds. There's this one. There's this one. There's this one right there, all in the general area of where she went missing. There's even one right there, close to where they live, right there. So they have to check all those. As investigation into Suzanne Morphew's missing person case move forward, Chaffee County residents are being asked to preserve any and all video footage from devices such as Ring doorbells, security cameras, game cameras, etc. from May 8th through May 12th. Citizens are only asked to preserve the video at this time. Please do not send these videos to the Sheriff's Office or call the Sheriff's Office. As search areas are identified, investigators will contact residents in those locations to collect any camera footage within that May 8 to 12 window. Please do not call Chaffee County Dispatch with questions. One of the most helpful ways the community can aid in the search of Suzanne Morphew is by preserving these recordings, said Chaffee County Sheriff John Spezzi. We are aware that some system override videos after several days, and we want to ensure the video remains available if needed. Well, you should have said this a little sooner, okay? Like 2 days in, maybe mention that. Because there's some people, you're right at the cutoff time, a week. The Chaffee County Sheriff's Office asks the public to continue to report any information about this case, and, that's what, hold on one second. Yeah, I was just going to say. So I think that's what, John Schmidt, that's what he was doing. He was just calling it in. But he felt like he wanted to get it out so that the public would be aware. And I think it's actually a public service, what he was doing, because it might then free the minds of other people who have had similar experiences and come forward with that. Now, those behaviors that John noticed of Barry don't necessarily and don't actually indicate at all that he did something to Suzanne, because there's just no evidence pointing to that based on just that knowledge. It's just a piece of a puzzle that you can see somebody who might be somebody that has a snap reaction or just really angry really quickly and does something he didn't want to be doing, and it could lead to something like that. Her disappearing. Okay, that's all. Oh my God, that was that was a quick one. I didn't even have time to notice. Thank you, Karen K.
Missed my freak family. Happy Sunday. Red heart face with monocle.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Thank you, Karen K. I was just reading the comment about him being a landscaper, therefore. Yeah, even people that aren't landscapers know how to dig holes. Okay? Yeah, right. I mean, some of the circumstantial stuff, like I was saying, putting out a reward for such a high amount so quickly seemed odd to me. But see, none of those things mean anything. Okay. It could. It was also weird at the press conference where the sheriff said, yes, he's been cooperating, and we hope he continues to do so. I've mentioned this 3 different times now. Well, it's weird that you would throw that aside in there. Oh, we hope he continues to do so. Well, what would make you think he wouldn't? I mean, what made you want to say that little piece of information? And then he put out the video today. And, none of us are really good body language. In person, I'm pretty good at reading someone's body language, but when someone puts a video out, I would say it's 50-50 on how often people are wrong. It's just amazing. Everybody's an expert now because they watched the Chris Watts case. Listen, the Chris Watts case was a joke. It was absolutely, what he did to those kids was a travesty, but the case was over 2 days in. Completely figured out. Everybody knew what was going on, and yet everybody kept following it. It was unbelievable. And they all became body language experts because they saw Chris Watts and, wow, I know everything now. And then they apply all that stuff to every other person in the news after that. And hopefully they realize after that, wow. Remember the Broussard case? When the father was out there trying to do those interviews? I felt so bad for that guy. He was thrown under the bus by so many people. And it turned out he had absolutely nothing to do with his wife's death whatsoever. Zero. Well, I don't know, Gray. We're still looking at... shut the hell up. Okay, go. Yeah. People, here's the thing. Instead of people accepting the truth sometimes, what they'll do is they'll invent a new story to keep what their belief was alive. Like somehow, like in the Watts case, they kept trying to make it so that the girlfriend had something to do with it. Over and over again. They'll even tell you that they see her loading stuff into the pickup truck over and over again. All right? It's just not true. All right? There you go. So the Chris Watts case, I don't know why everybody uses that as the quintessential case. If I had $1 for every time it was mentioned in today's video after watching the press conference, I'd be rich. It was unbelievable. It was just, it reminds me of Chris Watts. How? What possibly how does Barry remind you of Chris Watts? Chris Watts was a weak, just a total, timid little, just a idiot who thought, wow, I'm going to kill my whole family so I can have the life that I really want with my girlfriend. This guy is absolutely nothing like Chris Watts. Now, it may be that he did something to his wife, and that would be the only similarity whatsoever that the two have. Yeah. So anyways, it's time to do we got to hit this button right here about 500 times. Get that guy the hell out of there. So basically that's where we're at on this case. Hopefully we get some more information soon. I'm hoping she's out there somewhere. The best chance of her being alive is if she was abducted by somebody. Thanks, Cairo. Wow, for my Hank's frozen yogurt. Yay. Okay. So do you guys want to discuss the Rachael Deltondo case? It's a really crazy case, and there's an update in it today. But I thought it'd be better to sort of go over it again. And I think I can do it mildly quickly, but not really.
For Gray's Hank's Frozen Custard Fund. He loves his custard soft ice cream.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. Hell, I don't even know if you can make out. Well, you can kind of make it out there. It's not cutting off too much stuff. See, this was my original chart back in the day. All right. So I do have a timeline article here. So I'm going to describe how this whole thing started. Basically, well, it really started way back in the day. Sheldon Jeter Jr. right here, and Rachael Deltondo. Rachael Deltondo was a teacher at a small, like a grade school, and Sheldon was a student at the school, but she wasn't one of his teachers. This is when he was younger. Okay, but then later on, Rachael Deltondo and Sheldon, when he was 20, I think he's now 22, they were found in a steamed up automobile together. Let me get that case loaded up in here. Yeah, I got to turn on all the buttons for that one and fly over there. Okay. And I think Cairo even went to here. He went there. I think this was the first place he went to for the channel, I think. But this is the parking lot, and I'm going to describe what happened here. Okay, this is on at 1:52 a.m. on February 6, 2016. Aliquippa police encountered Deltondo and then 17-year-old Aliquippa High School football and basketball star Sheldon Jeter Jr. in a car parked with the engine off on the grounds of the old Aliquippa Hospital. In an incident report, police described the windows as steamed over and Jeter's seat as reclined. When they asked Deltondo what the couple is doing, she tells police she is simply counseling Jeter, who she describes as a former student. Deltondo is not charged, and police drive Jeter home. Okay, so what do you guys think that they were doing in that automobile? These two right here. Okay, it's steamed up, 1:40 something in the morning. Yeah, there wasn't any counseling going on. Okay, there's no counseling. All right, so as I approached the driver's side of the vehicle, this is one of the officers in the report, I noticed that the windows were steamed over and the engine was not running. I again asked Rachael what she was doing, parked where she was with the 17-year-old. Deltondo again stated she was there just... Let me move this over here. God, so much. I always have my head turned sideways on my third I have 3 monitors in front of my face there. Okay, I asked Deltondo if she was me, what would you think she was what was going on at the time? Well, yeah, I mean, so even the police were like, yeah, I mean, come on, if you were me, what would you think was going on? Deltondo replied that she understands and that she didn't want her fiancé to know that she was here parked because he would get mad. And his fiancé's name is Frank Catropa, which you see right here. He's like a bigwig in the town. He purchased like an armored vehicle, apparently, for the police. Yeah. Deltondo, let's see, I already read that part. I advised Deltondo that I know a lot of Franks, at which she then advised that her fiancé was Frank Catropa. Deltondo continued to maintain that she was called by the teen, which is Sheldon, and then he was upset and needed someone to talk to. Upon contact and speaking with Sheldon, he advised that he was just hanging out and that he and Deltondo are friends. Deltondo was advised that there was better places to just talk with a former student, and that I would hope that I wouldn't find her parked anywhere else in Aliquippa with former students at such late hour just talking. Deltondo did get in her vehicle and left the area. So here's what's interesting too. So keep this in mind right here. So Rachael and Sheldon are in that vehicle, right? The officers that showed up on the scene are Kenneth Watkins right here. And I think he was a sergeant at the time. And Francis Conkle, which we don't have a picture of. But those two officers were there. And one of the officers apparently was already going to be taking Sheldon Jeter Jr. into his home because his home life wasn't very good. So it's something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's really pretty crazy. Now, what happened is the original incident report was not created. And somebody was made aware of this incident. And they contacted the police, and then the police had to create an incident report a year later because it wasn't going to be put in there. And that created an absolute nightmare. So on February 14th, 2016, which is only 8 days after this incident, Deltondo and her fiancé, Frank Katropa, call their wedding off. All right? And then that was on February 14th, 2016. Then on February 2nd, 2017, Deltondo appears in a Get Marty. It's a show on television, and she's trying to get money back for her dress, her wedding dress. Okay, so she was literally just on a TV show. Then November 6th, 2017. Let's see. The incident report on the encounter between Deltondo and Jeter in the parking lot is leaked to the press. So this is November 6, 2017. And February 6, 2016 is when they were found in the car. So that means about a year and, 8 months later, or 9 months later, it's leaked to the press. And she actually lost her job at the school. She was suspended anyways. And yeah, so she was suspended from the school that she worked at. Are you guys all following along here? So just picture it like this. Rachael and Sheldon were in the car. It was steamed up. And this was in 2016. The police show up. No report is created because both of them said, we were just... So they didn't create a police report. But then somebody actually called the police and let them know that they were aware of it. And then a police report was created, and then that information, right after the police report was created, was then leaked immediately. It's crazy what happened there. Then on May 13th, 2018, which is just 6 months after that was released, Rachael Deltondo was killed in the driveway of her parents' house. And so now this is where everything just gets really nutty here. All right, listen to this. So at the time, in 2018, she's actually dating a guy named Rashawn Bolton. He's 32, and he's the half-brother of Sheldon here, right? So you could imagine that might make Sheldon Jeter jealous, right? It happens to be that the mayor apparently is related to Sheldon Jeter Jr. And let's see. And here's Frank Katropa right here. They ended up getting a... So there's a lot of people after she was murdered that people think may have done it. Was it Frank Katropa because he was so shunned? He felt just absolutely embarrassed about the leak. And how dare her? And then he takes her out, right? It is just the craziest story you've ever heard. And listen to this one. Rachael Deltondo right here. The night she was killed, listen to this. It's absolutely wild. She's with the other brother of Sheldon Jeter Jr. and Lauren Watkins right here. And she was like 17 years old. The daughter of Kenneth Watkins, the officer who found Rachael and Sheldon in the car. All right? So she's out with the daughter of that guy. And Lauren Watkins here. and Tyree Jeter here. So they go out to a place called Hank's Frozen Yogurt. And now I've got to pull out this, I hope this is the right one here. Yeah, there's some text messages that went back and forth. Oh, hell, now I got to go open it again. Just a second. Yeah, that's it. So let's see, how does this work? So they went to Hank's Frozen Yogurt, and then after 1 hour they left to take Rachael Deltondo back home. But let's see, up here it said went to a friend's, went to at 9:20 to change clothes. Rachael Deltondo, they went to 217 Buchanan Street, Aliquippa at 9:20 to change clothes. They'd gone to a Circle K before. So this is before they went to Hank's Frozen Yogurt. Okay, she went to Hank's Frozen, went to Circle K with Lauren Watkins here. And then she went home to change clothes at 9:20. And then Sheldon Jeter told Rachael, I'm not going to go to Hank's Frozen Custard. Then both of them went to pick up Tyree up there. And then right here, Sheldon Jeter texts his brother and says, I got left, didn't I? And then again, who's all with you? And he's not being responded to. Said, right here says, you all there already? So that was the first text message at 10:07 at night. Sheldon texted his brother. So let's go back to the image here. Sheldon right here texted his brother, who's with Rachael and Lauren, and said, are you guys there yet? Meaning, are you already at Hank's Frozen Yogurt? And his brother said, yeah. So that was 10:07. And then 10:15, he says, I got left, huh? No response. Then 4 minutes later, who's all with you? No response. See, now he's getting worked up. Like, hey, he's getting worked up in his mind. And then he says, at 10:30, this is the one that really made me suspicious of Sheldon at the time, is this one says, Hank's is closed. That means he literally looked up and saw that it was closed, and by God, they should be back in town now. Right? Like, why would he care about that? Then when they did get near their home, when they got to Rachel's house, Lauren Watkins, she texted Rachael, I guess while she was in the car. It's always been kind of weird to me. She said, go for a walk. And then Rachael said, you serious? Like, almost like Lauren wanted to have some of her own time with Tyree. And then Rachael said, you serious? And then 10 minutes, let's see. And 4 minutes later, that was at 10:41. And then at 10:44, let's see, Rachael Deltondo was at home, and then Lauren told her she'd be back in 10 minutes. 4 minutes later, at 10:48, officers are dispatched to shots fired at the home. Then 10 minutes after that, at 10:58, Lauren left Rachael a text message saying, be there soon. And then there was no reply. And then 6 minutes later, she again said, on my way. And then at 11:07, 3 minutes after that, Lauren Watkins tried to call Rachael Deltondo. And then at 11:10, Kenneth Watkins and Lauren Watkins show up on the scene. So you got the father here and Lauren show up on the scene at the house. I mean, what was weird to me about it was that either Kenneth Watkins must have been listening to scanner radio or somebody called him, or Lauren is psychic or something. I mean, why would you be so freaked out in just a short amount of time that your friend isn't responding that you would then get your father and drive over there. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But they show up on the scene. Then Kenneth Watkins steps through the tape, breaking rules, and he got reprimanded for that. He got put on suspension, I believe, for doing that. You remember that? How he went through the tape? Well, for those of you who remember this, it's pretty... We went over this like a year ago. No, I don't think he's mad about the custard at all. Yeah, he's mad that he's not going, and I think he's jealous. He might think that he might be interested in Lauren Watkins, and then his brother Tyree is going to be with Lauren, and his other girl that he was with before, Rachel, was taken from him by Rashawn Bolton, his half-brother. So he was really a jealous person. Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy, this whole thing. But man, I wish that this was it, though. I mean, it's not even close. So the thing is, the mother, his wife actually works in I can't remember exactly what department, but it was a place where she could have overseen certain things. It was interesting. This one actually feels like there could have been a conspiracy, like a literal conspiracy here. Because here's the thing, everybody, I haven't mentioned this part. There we go. This is the crazy stuff that you're about to hear. Is Rachael Deltondo was an informant for the Beaver County newspaper, and also had she was going to be interviewed, I think, I don't remember if it was like by a special prosecutor or something like that, for information on corruption in the town. Okay, and guess what? Her husband, Frank Catropa, you know, there's rumors out there. I mean, it is rumors. I don't have it, but he, you know, there's just some shady stuff going around out there. Okay, I don't want to get too much into the details there. Yeah, these two people never got married. Rachel never married Frank Catropa. So yes, she was a special informant for the Beaver County newspaper. I think I'm trying to get a hold of, his name is Mr. Paul on there. He's as good or even better than any of the guys that are reporting on the Lori Vallow case. That guy is a machine. I mean, he pumps out article after article after article and gets all the information. I always felt a little nervous for the guy, to be honest with you. Yeah, John Paul. Yeah, I've contacted him before, Paul. Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, he needs to respond, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's shocking that a lot of people haven't heard of this case. We've covered it since the beginning and got all the... There is so much craziness to this one. You could literally do an easy 20-part podcast on this thing. And you'd still be like, oh crap, I missed something. Because, actually, this isn't even the chart I'm supposed to have up on the screen. It's this one. Yeah, hold on, I screwed up. Yeah, this is the one I was supposed to have up there. So I see this guy down here, this Wayne Cordes guy. Well, he was in jail for pounding somebody with a baseball bat. And the arresting officer happened to be Kenneth Watkins here. And this guy's in jail. And he came up with a story that Lauren Watkins here told him that it was a cover-up of Kenneth Watkins and a whole bunch of different things. And it was in this letter. And then he tore the letter in half, gave one to his attorney, and then had one in his room, in his cell. Well, then his attorney, or the district attorney, excuse me, at the time, and let me get that image out. I got another. This one is a two-part thing here. This guy right here, District Attorney David Lozier, he had police go into his cell, shake it down. I guess they found part of the note, and then they went into his attorney's office and did the same thing, and they got information that was attorney-client privileged information. Okay, and it turns out that they believed that that letter and everything was fake the whole time. Okay, but David Lozier, by making that mistake and breaking his constitutional rights, made a deal with his attorney and set this guy free. Okay, as an informant. They let him out for being an informant. Like, thank you, man, thanks for the help. Because he didn't want to be sued for the him breaking his constitutional rights. Just unbelievable. So this guy over here gets out of jail after beating somebody up with a baseball bat. Yeah. And it turns out that his story was totally bogus. All right. Then, let me go back to the other chart here. This guy right here, this is the mayor. And there was a guy named Don Couch. He had to step down because they didn't create that report in a timely manner originally. Then after he stepped down, a guy named Percival right here, he took over. Joseph Percival. He took over as the police chief. Except a day after he gets in there, he's arrested. So the second police chief got arrested because, hey, thanks Sherlock Hemlock. I can't believe I'm actually able to go through this again after, I don't think I've touched it for a year, but it's all, the charts help you kind of remember stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure I'm missing. Yeah. Thank you, Sherlock Hemlock. Yes, that's right, Grady Gret. But wait, there's more. It's almost like you're...
This case is too much. Very convoluted.
Yeah.
Never mind how hysterical Gray and the freaks are. Rolling on the floor, laughing face with tears of joy.
Whoa. Are you really rolling on the floor laughing right now? I'm going to call the cops. Okay. So listen to this. You guys are going to... This part, I'm still going here. So right here, you got this Joseph Percival here. And he got arrested. And you know why he got arrested? Because during the investigation of the case, they found that he had sent pornographic information to Lauren, Kenneth, and Stephanie. And it was a lady on a swing with no pants on, peeing into the wind, apparently. Okay, but so he got in trouble for sending a text to a minor. I actually do believe, based on stuff that happened later, that he did that for a... I mean, he really did just accidentally send it to Lauren. But, you know, one of the crazy answers he gave was, hey, I send that kind of stuff to my officers all the time. It's hilarious. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Where in the world could any other boss send their subordinates porn on a daily basis and keep their job?
Why do I have to do the whiny face, delusional lucidity? That's so mean.
Just for you, delusional lucidity. Yeah. Could you imagine that? Like, he literally... so he got fired, and then they ended up with a third police chief, and things started to normalize a little bit.
Gray, what the hell would I do without you? P.S. Please do whiny voice. Thank you, bye-bye.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So... Let's see, God, what else? There's so many other things here. Oh, yeah. So this guy right here, Percival here, he was also arrested again. Like, he got arrested a second time, like after he got out from that, or he was charged with something. And he was charged with secretly recording Don Couch right here because he had believed that there was some corruption going on. So he made a recording. Then he had a clandestine meeting with District Attorney David Lozier here at some place, and Lozier was kind of interested a little bit, but then he just started to it sounded like he started to ignore Percival, and then he went after him. That's why some of these charges were leveled against him, to keep him quiet. So then you sort of wonder, well, what's District Attorney David Lozier doing? What's he all about? So there is something else going on here in this town, even if it had nothing to do with why Rachael Deltondo isn't alive, but there's a lot of crap going on here. Okay, now let me get to the update. So here's the craziness right here. Listen to this. Not that one, sorry. Where do I have it? Got to get my windows back up again. Man questioned in Rachael Deltondo murder case in separate fatal shooting. Sheldon Jeter Jr. I made a post in a community post about this. I don't know if anybody saw this. Sheldon Jeter Jr. was arrested in connection with the shooting death of his childhood friend and roommate. Wow. So now we've got Sheldon Jeter Jr. killing another person that's close to him. And multiple times he shot him. Now, when I say another, that means I'm assuming he did something to Rachael Deltondo. But now we know that he has the proclivity to kill. Okay? He has the ability to kill at this point. Although his attorney's saying, oh, he didn't do it. Police said just before midnight Friday, officers were sent to Keel Street in Aliquippa following a report of a man lying on the road. Tyrick Pugh, 30, had been shot multiple times and was pronounced dead at the scene. Court documents said investigators found 7 spent 38 shell casings lying on the road around Pugh's body. Well, guess what? Rachael Deltondo was shot 10 times. Just somebody stood over and went bang, 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 and then walked away. Well, doesn't that sound a little bit familiar? Unloading a gun like that into somebody? Are you stoned, William? Yeah. She was shot 10 times. Court documents said police conducted a search warrant at the address of Pugh's driver's license where they found Jeter. So they found Jeter at Pugh's house. He told police he was with Pugh earlier in the night and had gone to get ice cream. Are you sure? I wonder if he's talking about frozen yogurt at this point. God, wouldn't that be crazy, right? Video surveillance cameras from multiple locations coupled with cell phone records showed Jeter's account of what happened that evening did not match up with the data, police said. He was arrested and charged with homicide. Court documents said a Glock 380 pistol and ammunition were found during their search. Channel 11 talked to Jeter's attorney, Mike Santacola, who said after reading the affidavit of probable cause, he believes police have no direct evidence tying Jeter to Pugh's death. He said Jeter was more than cooperative with investigators and forthright about the night. Jeter was one of 2 people publicly questioned. He denied any involvement and was never charged in the case. No, and that was in the Rachael Deltondo case. Deltondo was gunned down in her parents' driveway on Mother's Day 2 years ago. Investigators are expected to release more information at a news conference Monday morning. Oh, God. If anybody can find that one for me, let me know. That press conference. I'd like to see that. Definitely play it on the show later in the night, though. A search warrant filed by Aliquippa police. I'm going to go straight to the Beaver County article on this. Okay, there you go. There's 3 of them. And this is the John Paul wrote these articles here. So this is the first one. An Aliquippa man has been charged with shooting and killing another man in the city Friday night. Sheldon Jeter Jr, 22. So now he's 22. It's 5 years after the steamy car moments of Aliquippa is facing criminal homicide charges for allegedly shooting and killing Tyrick Pugh. Wow, really? Hold on, let me go check something out here. That's so weird. It's 1 letter different than Tyree Jeter's older brother. He was... wait a minute. 20... oh, he'd be 28. Man. That's so weird. Tyrie, and the other guy is Tyric, and a C almost looks like an E sometimes, but I'm just saying, like, that's crazy. Tyrick Pugh, 30, also of Aliquippa, and approximately at 11:30 p.m. on May 15th, so just 2 days ago. Jeter Jr. remains a suspect in the 2018 Mother's Day killing of elementary school teacher Rachael Deltondo, although he has not been charged in her murder, and has denied any involvement through his attorney. Well, now you're denying it again in another one, of course. According to a statement issued by the Pennsylvania State Police at approximately 11:41 p.m. Friday night, the City of Aliquippa Police Department was dispatched to the area of Keel Street. Here, let's see where that is. Wait, how's that spelled again? Oh, I was way off. K-I-E-H-L. K-I-E-H. Yeah, so right over here somewhere. Alright. Looks like it's on a hill almost. For the report of a man found laying on the roadway. Upon their arrival, police found Pugh had suffered multiple gunshot wounds. Pugh was pronounced dead at the scene. Aliquippa police requested the Pennsylvania State Police assume the role of the primary investigative agency. You know, it's amazing how they do that so quickly now in Aliquippa, because they just really, it's literally the shady police force there. I mean, it has the highest turnover of, it's almost like you get hired and then the next day you quit. It's horrible there. I mean, I'm being facetious, but it's really ridiculous. No, I didn't see that. Did he really? Wow. Well, how did he die? Just like natural causes or something? So now they're on to police chief number 4. Shit. Hey, good night, Andrea Ruggiero Drum. Thank you for showing up. Oh, really? Yeah. You seem like a kind of a bigger guy. Okay, so upon and they're immediately transferring it to the, and I think they're probably doing that because Sheldon is in this case. That's probably why they transferred it, and the state's already looking into the Rachael Deltondo case, and they probably just felt like, let's just keep it in that with you guys. So that's probably the real reason, but man, I'm telling you. See, the thing is, Chloe never lets Blue just, like, relax. He's trying to eat something, and she's biting him in the tail, biting him in the legs, biting him in the face. Like, let him just have a bite of something to eat. Criminal defense attorney Michael Santacolo represents Jeter Jr. did not return a message seeking comment left Saturday by Beaver Countian. And that's the newspaper. I've been paying a monthly fee for 2 years. And I actually, as part of when you guys donate and stuff like that, I've been paying. I think, and the funny thing is, Cairo got it too for a while, and he didn't realize he didn't need it for anything. I think finally he eventually figured out how to get rid of it. But I've still been sending him his $10 a month to get his articles because they're really good. May 13th marked the 2-year anniversary of Deltondo's death. Lozier told BeaverCounty.com the investigation into her murder remains ongoing. Investigators do not believe Pugh's murder is related to Deltondo's case. Yeah, I'm sure it's not related technically, but it could be related, meaning the same killer. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you were paying something like $5 a week, and I was paying $10 a month. Something like that. All right, so now that one came out, and I don't know how he orders this, but here's another one. Your affidavit. This is a document released here. Oh, this is cool. This is an affidavit. You know, when they say your affiant, it means the person creating the document. Is a trooper with the Pennsylvania State Police, having been employed with the Pennsylvania State Police since March 6, 2015. I received my initial education in law enforcement at the, so he's going to go through and tell everybody why he's worthy of doing what he's doing. On Friday, May 15th, 2020, at approximately 11:41, the Aliquippa Police Department responded to Keel Street, City of Aliquippa, Beaver County, Pennsylvania, for the report of a deceased male lying on the roadway. Upon arrival to the scene, the Aliquippa Police Department found an unidentified black male shot numerous times. The Aliquippa Police Department requested assistance from the Aliquippa Fire Department, and the male was determined to be deceased. The Aliquippa Police Department requested the assistance of the Pennsylvania State Police in the investigative responsibility of the homicide investigation. Several citizens were located on the scene by the Aliquippa Police Department and subsequently interviewed. It was determined that the citizens came upon the deceased male lying on the roadway and contacted emergency authorities. The scene was secured and ultimately processed by the Pennsylvania State Police Forensic Service Unit. Evidence located at the scene consisted of 7 spent 38 shell casings lying on the roadway around the deceased male's body. The deceased male was identified as Tyrick Pugh, date of birth 10/21/89, by his Pennsylvania photo ID that was inside his wallet on his person. There was a cellular telephone that was located inside the deceased's pockets. The evidence was photographed, secured, and transported. Based upon the last listed address being Orchard Street, troopers responded to the residence in attempts to locate family members of the deceased. While on the scene, troopers located, and lo and behold, Sheldon Jeter Jr., who advised troopers that he was with the deceased earlier in the evening. Information was obtained that showed Jeter and Pugh went to get ice cream together along with Emmanuel Moreland and Michael Moreland. Video surveillance shows the deceased male with Jeter and both Morelands at Buster's Ice Cream. Okay, so it's not the same one. Let's see. Let me see if I can, let's find out where that is. Buster's Ice Cream. Yeah, that's got to be it right there, right? Yeah. And I think Hank's Frozen Yogurt, where the hell is that? Let's see. thought it was up here somewhere. Excuse me, custard. Okay. So there's Hank's frozen custard. I'm gonna add that back in there. That's from the Deltondo case, needs that in there. I'm sure it's in there. It was just a pin put in the wrong folder and then turned off at a different time. Okay, back to this. So they were at the Brewster's. Oh, it was Brewster's. Did I say I put Buster's in there, didn't I? I gotta do that again. No, that was right. I did that. So it was prior to arriving at Orchard Street. They went there first. They went to Orchard Street. Troopers were able to view video footage that shows Jeter's vehicle coming off Keel Street and turning onto Franklin Avenue. All right, let's see where Franklin is. I'm kind of thinking that's going to be Franklin. Or is that Franklin right there? That's Highland. That's Highland Street. Let me just type in Franklin. Okay. So Keel, and then maybe turning right there, perhaps. I think this is Franklin, and that's probably still Keel right there. Arriving at Orchard, troopers were able to view video footage that shows Jeter's vehicle coming off Keel Street and turning on to Franklin Avenue. Shortly after Pugh was shot and killed, Jeter was interviewed and provided contradicting information about what time he left his residence and the last time he was with Pugh. Throughout the course of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted and video surveillance was collected that contradicted Sheldon Jeter's accounts of events he provided to the state police. You know, it's interesting how similar this is to the Deltondo case with Jeter, because you remember there was the information of Rachel and Lauren had gone to the Circle K, and they actually have Jeter showing up at that Circle K, and they knew what clothes he was wearing, and then they asked him to give them his clothing in the investigation, and he gave them different clothes than the clothing that they knew he was wearing on that surveillance footage. So here he goes again. Jeter was asked and willingly provided his cellular telephone device, and same was analyzed by Detective Patrick Young of the Beaver County Detectives Unit. The contents of the phone also contradicted Jeter's movements and his location at the time of the homicide. Troopers requested and were granted permission to search the vehicle that Jeter and Pugh were last seen driving together in. Based upon the information contained in Jeter's cellular telephone and video surveillance collected throughout the city of Aliquippa, the Pennsylvania State Police secured and executed a search warrant on the Orchard Street where numerous items were located, including, but not limited to, a Glock 38 semi-automatic pistol and ammunition matching the empty shell casings collected from the crime scene. The Beaver County District Attorney's Office was provided updates on the developments of this investigation. Upon consultation with the Beaver County District Attorney's Office, they approved 1 count of criminal homicide to be filed against Sheldon Jeter in conjunction with the incident. Well, couldn't they tell if the gun had been fired? I mean, he could have cleaned it, but I mean... And then here's the latest article here. I don't know if this is interesting for you guys, but it is for me because he's the guy that I've always thought killed Rachael Deltondo. That's just, allegedly. That was just my opinion. And now the same guy... Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I forgot to mention this, but I think it was last year, Sheldon Jeter Jr. right here was found unresponsive on a street in Aliquippa. And then when the police got there, or the ambulance or whatever, whoever got there, they injected him, I think, with whatever it is that you give somebody that's not like Narcan or some shit like that. And then boom, he gets up, and then he didn't want to go to the hospital or anything, but he lived. But he actually was unresponsive, probably would have died if nobody had shown up. Well, it seems obvious, Sasha, but there's also a lot of those other people because she was looking into corruption. So is it possible that Jeter was sort of the hitman for... I mean, look at... See, this is what's crazy here, all right? Just if you just kind of look at it in a... So right here you have Lauren Watkins. And what if Lauren found out that Rachael... This was a theory that I had prior as well, so I had a couple running around, but what if Lauren Watkins, who's friends with Rachael, found out that Rachael was a confidential informant in corruption? And then Lauren maybe mentioned it to his dad. And what if his dad had some stuff that he shouldn't have been doing in the police force? Then he actually knows Sheldon Jeter because he's friends with Lauren. He's also the guy that was in the steamed up car, you see, and they find out that she's looking into corruption, and she's taken out somehow. And there's some people that were skeptical of why Kenneth would break the seal at the crime scene and step through there, contaminating it with himself. See, that was one of the things that people were skeptical about. But I still always thought that Sheldon Jeter Jr. was most likely the person who pulled the trigger. And you could tell he was just he knew exactly when they were going to be home. He knew that the yogurt place or the custard place was closed. And he kept, you could see it building up in his mind. He was getting pissed off. And then he knew about what time they were going to be back, and he waited. And as soon as she was dropped off, and Lauren and Tyree drove away, Rachael was by herself, and she was shot in the driveway there. And it looks like they said that she was kind of in a defensive position. Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of things it could have felt like. It could have felt like this, could have felt like that. I'm just saying there's a whole bunch of different angles. And if you remember, Percival was looking into police corruption too. Rachael Deltondo was, I believe, going to be testifying about corruption in the town. Okay? I mean, it's just a crazy story. There's so many different angles. That's why I'm telling you, it would make just a ridiculous podcast, but you'd have to be able to talk to some of these people, like get a hold of Kenneth Watkins, get a hold of, maybe talk to Lauren, Frank Katropa, Percival even. Yeah. Well, this one, that's why I'm saying it's very similar to the Lori Daybell case. There's just so much crap going on. It's all over the place. Yeah, but it's hard to keep everything straight, Jen. That's what's kind of difficult about some of these. But it's not really. That's why these charts are so important, I think, because after you look at them long enough, when you're telling the story, you sort of remember where everybody was and their names and what they were doing. Yeah, I think it is a little bit more crazy because there's so many other angles you could go at. I don't know if they're still out there, but maybe on Beaver County, and you can go back and read some of the older articles. There's a ton more to this. Just a ton more that I'm probably leaving out. I probably left out maybe 20% of everything, but there's way more detail in all of those aspects. I'd love to have the original set of text messages without the notes that other person put in there. Oh yeah, and there was a special on it a while back with one of Rachel's friends. Maybe it was at 48 hours or something like that, but that was pretty interesting. Yeah, that. Well, I don't know. I think he did. Wayne Cordes actually came forward and said that he wrote it, and he came up with the entire story based on how we did it. You know, like what we were looking at. You know what's weird? Here's the weirdest part about this for me was the story that Wayne Cordes told in his letter was exactly a story that we speculated on based on all the stuff we were looking at. Could have been reality, and apparently he did the same thing while he was in jail reading the different articles and wrote a letter that said similar things. His was a little different though, because he had well, it was actually really similar, to be honest. Okay, don't I have that? Let me see if I can find that. Something by him. I don't know if I stored that or not. Well, if you go back and watch, I have tons and tons of videos on this case. We went over it all, probably 7 or 8 shows on it, going through all the different things, putting the charts together. So if you want to go back and look at that, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, he definitely, I think he wrote it for sure. Get the cellmate to write the letter. Yeah, maybe it was something like that. But it was just, yes, I think that might be right. His cellmate maybe wrote it so it wouldn't match his. Oh yeah, and he was a better writer, right? Like he could. Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, I guess that's one of the little details I forgot. What SWT Berry 32 there wrote, I think, is accurate. That's right. And what they wrote was, didn't Wayne get his cellmate to write the letter while he told him what to write, to make it seem as if a woman wrote it? Oh, there you go. I did have a playlist. All right, cool. What are you talking about, Paul Young? Wow. I mean, how are you onto that topic? We're not even... Man, food supply? I mean, how you started talking about food supply is beyond me. It did look like your next comment was related somehow. I don't know how you jumped to that. Okay, let me see what else is in this article. This is his attorney now. An attorney representing Sheldon Jeter Jr. insists his client had nothing to do with the murder of Tyrick Pugh. Man, I'm waiting for the article that says this. An attorney representing Sheldon Jeter admits that his client killed Tyrick Pugh. I mean, that's never going to happen, okay? So it's weird. Why even have an article with an attorney claiming his client didn't do it? At that point, it's just, really? You give me one where one admits it, and he's still his attorney at the time, and wants to keep his law license. You let me know. Criminal defense attorney Michael Santacola of Beaver law firm Santacola, Steele and Fidelis told BeaverCounty.com he met with Jeter for several hours today in the Beaver County Jail where Jeter is being held without bail. Pennsylvania State Police allege Jeter shot and killed Tyrick Pugh, who was found shot dead on the side of the road in Aliquippa by passers-by shortly before midnight on May 15th. Sheldon is innocent, is going to be pleading not guilty, and is going to fight this case. State police allege surveillance video taken from the location around Aliquippa and data retrieved from Jeter's phone place him in the area of the crime and contradict statements he made to investigators. That affidavit of probable cause doesn't tell us anything, said Santacola. You tell us there are inconsistencies with the statement, but you don't tell us what they are. You say there are inconsistencies with information from his phone, but what inconveniences? It's like they drew conclusions without telling us the actual facts. Well, I bet you what it is he said he went somewhere else or he was elsewhere, and the cell phone ping information proved that he wasn't telling the truth on that. I don't think they need to, maybe they'll spell it out to you later in another document. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this guy's I'm not sure what you're talking about, Paul Young. Are you still talking about food again? Police also say ammunition retrieved from Jeter's home matches the casings. We heard that. They did a test of Sheldon's hands for gunshot residue. There was no gunshot residue, said Santacola. They found a gun in his house that he allegedly owns. He has a relative who is a police officer that helped him buy that gun months ago because he was getting threats related to Rachael Deltondo case. He's never used that gun. Rachael Deltondo, 33, was gunned down at the bottom of her parents' driveway on Mother's Day 2018. Deltondo first made news when an Aliquippa police report involving her was leaked to a friends and news sources in October 2017. Yeah, so isn't that weird that here's what's crazy is the leaked information. Yeah, so there wasn't a police report of Deltondo and Sheldon Jeter Jr. made by the police. So the police, a year later, created a police report because somebody told them that they knew the incident occurred, but that there wasn't a police report for it. So they created a police report. Then that information was immediately leaked to all of Rachael Deltondo's friends and media outlets. So who had access to... So that right there could have been Frank Katropa. Okay? Just getting payback to embarrass his ex-fiancée. Okay? It could be, right? And that doesn't mean he killed her later, though. That was his payback right there. Because she was cheating on him in a car, Krista. What do you mean, why? Why, who? What are you talking about? So right here, you got Rachael Deltondo and Sheldon Jeter Jr. They were found in a car together in 2016. At the time she was found in the car, she was engaged to Frank Katropa right here. He's got connections to the police. I think he bought an armored vehicle for him and all this stuff. There was another weird thing about a gun. Like apparently he had a gun. Remember that part about he had a gun that was used in another murder or something? I don't know what. I can't ever remember it now. But yes, she embarrassed him. I mean, wouldn't you be embarrassed, honest to God? Like if you had a wife and she's with a 17-year-old kid in a car and she's 30-something and you're this guy, it would totally embarrass you into oblivion. Okay, so that all got out. Now, what's weird is why would Frank want it out so then he could then out her? It's almost like it got out somehow and then shit. That part's the confusing part. But because maybe Frank didn't care at the time. Maybe it was just later on. He's like, I don't care if it gets out. You need to be punished for what you did. And then had it get out. Then he was given the information. They've actually checked to see. I don't know what the results were to see if he was given the information. He said he wasn't. And so then he puts out all this information to her friends and the media. And then it ruins her career, I guess, as a teacher. And then she's killed 6 months later. Yeah, so there could be two things here. That Frank wanted to humiliate her, and that's how the information got out. Then later, she's killed by Sheldon because, he's dating Rashawn Bolton. Now, Rashawn Bolton once said that one time he came up and threatened Rachel's life, or it could have been that Rachel's mom said Rashawn Bolton said that, or Rashawn Bolton said it himself, but that Sheldon came up to Rachel while Rashawn was there and threatened her life, and somehow he ended up going away or whatever. But it kind of just shows you that he was just sort of this young kid, probably jacked up on hormones and drugs, and you took my girl to Rashawn, because Rashawn, his half-brother, is now was dating Rachel when she was killed. But don't you also find it weird that Rachel's 32 years old and she's going out to get frozen custard with Lauren Watkins, who's 17, and then Sheldon's brother, Tyree Jeter, who's also, 6 years younger than her. I don't know. Just a lot of weirdness. And I'm not sure what the deal was with Lauren saying, take a walk back to the house. It's almost like she wanted to have alone time with Tyree. But, he's 26 and she was 17. I don't really know what was going on there. And then she drops Tyree off and then drives back home. And she's texting, be there in a minute, be there in a minute. And it was way longer than 10 minutes. And then just because Rachel doesn't respond, her and her dad show up on the scene, who's an officer. But why would you do that? Wouldn't you just go, are you really that concerned? Maybe she's in the house, going to the bathroom. Maybe she's, fresh, taking a shower. Whatever the hell she's doing. It just seems really strange. Yeah. And shot outside in a driveway. Yeah, let me show you too. Look at this neighborhood. It's just yeah, it's right here on the street, and I think you can actually see her dad blurred out on this. Yeah, right there. I think either. Well, let's see. Let me see if I can find that. I think it might. I think it's probably this guy right here. And the reason I think that is, see this right here? Look. Doesn't that, you can even see the hairline and everything. This guy right here is this guy right there. So, it's kind of weird. And this is 2013 at this time. So this is 5 years prior to her being killed. So she was killed right there in that driveway right there. And look how many people are around. It's unreal. I mean, how did the person shoot her and get away? Probably didn't drive. And she was shot right here. And the guy with the baseball bat, and that guy's name is Wayne Cordes. And that was a weird one. That was a setup too. Her girlfriend was meeting some other guy, and then he shows up with a bat, but it was a strange situation there. Strange situation. Yeah, so, yeah, I remember Cairo actually went out here. So Kenneth Watkins, he lived right there. So let me show you how this worked. So that's the Circle K, and then they went out to Frank's Frozen Yogurt. Then they drop off Rachel at the house right here. And then somehow Lauren took Tyree home, and then ends up over there at Kenneth Watkins' house because she ends up with her dad. I don't know why she just didn't go after dropping off Tyree just straight back to Rachel's house, but instead she's like, hey, she's not answering, goes home, then her dad's in the car, and they do this drive just like this and go to Rachel's house. Kenneth Watkins lives right here, and the baseball bat incident was right there. So I guess apparently he was the arresting officer, and he's the one that arrested Wayne Cordes. Yeah, it could have just been that it was a little bit late, but, not too late. It's like 10:48. People are still watching television at that time. So, I do think that one of the biggest pieces of information in that case is the text message, but it's purely circumstantial. So if we were going to do that again, you've got Sheldon Jeter messaging Rachael Deltondo at 9:29 p.m. saying, I won't go. So he's saying he's not going to go. I don't know if it meant, she probably had already told him, well, hey, you can't go. And he goes, okay, I won't go. Something like that. Then Sheldon Jeter texts Tyree at 10:07 and says, y'all there already? And he says, yep. Tyree answered. And then he didn't answer any of the next text messages. He didn't answer the one that says, I got left, huh? Well, yeah, because we're already there, you idiot. I mean, look at the thing is, I don't really get that part there. He's like, are you there yet? Yep. And then I got left, huh? So you can tell he's really pissed. These smiley faces right here are actually the reverse of how he really feels. And then he says, who all with you? And no reply to that one. Then the next one is, Hanks is closed. Like, where are you? You should be back by now. That's what his mind's thinking. You can tell by that. And then that was at 10:30. Then 10:41, Lauren Watkins texts Rachel and wrote, go for a walk. And then Rachael Deltondo replied, you serious? Like, hey, you want to be alone with him or whatever? So Rachel went for a walk, and then she drove Tyree home. She said, I'll be back in 10 minutes or something like that. Rachel left Rachael Deltondo at home and said she'd be back in 10 minutes. And this SW went and dropped. Okay, so that's actually supposed to be LW. Lauren Watkins went and dropped Tyree Jeter off on Main Street in Aliquippa. 4 minutes later, at 10:48, officers were dispatched. So right after she left. So could you just totally picture a scenario where at 10:30, he's like, Hanks is closed. That means he's already waiting. Sheldon he texted that. That means he's sort of waiting around. He's pissed off. He's waiting, and then he sees Lauren and Tyree pull up. But it's just so interesting that she said, go for a walk. Why did she say that? Why couldn't Rachael stay in the car when you dropped Tyree off? Because they were all going to hang out. They were going to hang out together after that. You know, unless you wanted to have some private time. Lauren wanted private time with Tyree, perhaps. But, see, that's at 10:41, go for a walk. And then she drives and Lauren drives Tyree home. And as soon as she leaves, that's when... see, that's what's weird is those shots must have been almost exactly... Let's see. So it was at 10:44. She says, I'll be back in 10 minutes. So that means she was still at that house. 4 minutes later, officers were dispatched. So the shooting could have happened just moments after the car drove away with Tyree and Lauren in it. And then let's say, hypothetically, Sheldon is waiting, comes out, confronts Rachael at the driveway, and just shoots her 10 times. And then runs away somewhere. Then literally just 2 minutes later, cops are called. They get out there at 10:48. Then 10 minutes after that, at 10:58, Lauren Watkins texts Rachael. Rachel's already dead on the ground. Texts her and says, be there soon. And then 6 minutes after that, at 11:04, Lauren Watkins sent another text saying, on my way. So when she was dropped off at 10:41, she's already 25 minutes late. She said she'll be 10 minutes. It's already 25 minutes. Then 11:07, Lauren Watkins tried to call Rachael Deltondo. And then at 10:48, cops responded to the location. Then at 10:10, Kenneth Watkins and Lauren Watkins show up at the scene. So how do you get all freaked out so quickly? I mean, at 11:04, on my way, and then 11:10, you're both on the scene? I mean, did your dad get a call, a heads up or something? That part never made sense to me. At 11:04, on my way. 11:07, I tried to call. Oh my God, something happened to her. You know, really? Why? I mean, she could be in, going to the bathroom. And then 11:10, you show up on the scene with your dad, and your dad actually crosses into the crime scene, and he's a sergeant. I don't know. Something's a little weird about that to me. Now, it could be this, though. It could be that because Rachael had told her mother that she fears for her life. She told the Beaver County in the same thing. That she's feared for her life, but she would never say who she's fearing her life from. So maybe she had confided in Lauren that, and then she was hypersensitive to any sort of missed phone calls or text messages, something like that, right? But that's just me speculating. I don't know if she would have told Lauren that. I just think it's really weird to, at 10:58, you're saying, be there soon. 11:04, on my way. And then 6 minutes later, you're so freaked out, you're even on the scene with your dad. See, that means at 11:07, she tried to call, but at that moment, at 11:07, her dad, she must have been at home. And then her dad got in the vehicle with her, or maybe took over driving, and they were there 3 minutes later. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Maybe there was a scanner or something like that. But the problem is that's never come out. So nobody's ever said, oh yeah, he had a scanner radio on. He was, right? I've said that. Maybe he was listening to the police radio, or somebody called him, something like that. Yeah, the whole case is crazy. So can you see how many angles there possibly is in this one. You've got the police angle because she was a confidential informant for Beaver County. Let me type that in. Rachael Deltondo, confidential informant. That should lead me back to the Beaver County end. Well, let's see this.
Pennsylvania, where a driveway turned into a death scene. That's where Rachael Deltondo, and this isn't connected in any way.
We don't believe in any coincidences whatsoever. So all these backstories will be looked at to see if there's any connection to the crime. Now, the interesting thing I find is that 6 to 12 rounds being fired somewhere in that vicinity indicates to me that it's sort of a semi-automatic handgun or rifle. If it's a handgun, then that means to me that they unloaded the whole clip, the whole magazine, every round in the magazine into Rachael, which is sort of an overkill shooting here, which could indicate that there's a personal issue going on here and that the perpetrator knew Rachael.
Somewhere.
You know, they would not say who.
Oh, I gotta check this link out here. I haven't seen this one. But, I'll put this video in the description because I hadn't seen this one yet. It's long, it's 12 minutes. Interviews with different people, so let me put that in there. Mystery books. Ah, crap. Sorry, I'm trying to get this link in there, but I deleted some stuff I didn't want to delete. Okay, there you go. So if you guys want to check that out later, looks like it's pretty interesting. It looks like they interview the mayor, the guy that's related to him.
So it's important that they gather all this video.
Don't want to the case, excuse my lingo. So let me go back.
So I'll check that out and see if there's anything new in there. Okay, this is the article I was looking for right here. Alright, it's woman murdered in Aliquippa was a Beaver County source who had assisted state police. See, you see how this gets kind of nutty now at this point? A journalistic source for the Beaver Countian who was helping to uncover corruption in the city of Aliquippa and elsewhere has been murdered. Law enforcement sources tell the Beaver Countian that 33-year-old Rachael Elena Deltondo was shot multiple times in the driveway of her parents' home on Mother's Day. This article here is May 14th, I think the next day, actually. Deltondo had been out getting ice cream, it's actually frozen yogurt, with two friends, including the daughter of an Aliquippa police officer, Lauren Watkins, the daughter of Kenneth Watkins. And Kenneth Watkins is the man who found Rachael and Sheldon Jeter Jr. in a car 2 years earlier with the windows all fogged up, and she was 30 and he was 17. Maybe he was 31 or 32 at the time. Sources say Deltondo died in a hail of gunfire, was struck multiple times. See, this sounds exactly like what just happened to this other guy, Tyrick. Although autopsy results are still pending, Deltondo had been out getting ice cream with two friends, including the daughter of Aliquippa police officer, prior to the shooting, according to multiple sources familiar with the events leading up to her death. After getting ice cream, sources say friends had dropped Deltondo off at her parents' home where she was living. Deltondo suffered multiple gunshot wounds, being fatally struck in the torso. Sources tell the Beaver County that Rachael Deltondo's mother became irate at Aliquippa police as they arrived to the scene last night, shouting that she believed their actions helped lead to her daughter's death. The Beaver County first reported about Rachael Deltondo in December of last year, when it published an investigative report revealing that sensitive... Listen to this right here. This is where it makes you think it could be something else. Listen to this. This is before she was murdered and everything, and they didn't mention her name in this article, but it says the Beaver County first reported about Rachael Deltondo in December of last year when it published an investigative report revealing that sensitive law enforcement database records about her leaked. Okay, this is about the leaking from Aliquippa Police Department to an unauthorized individual. The Beaver County reporting led to criminal investigation into the Aliquippa Police Department by Pennsylvania State Police. So right there, the state police looked into criminal investigation into the Aliquippa Police Department. Sources say Aliquippa Police informed Deltondo's mother last night that an investigation into them by state police related to the unauthorized release of sensitive files had been concluded, but individuals who have been interviewed by state police tell the Beaver County the investigation remains ongoing. Rachael Deltondo had informed the Beaver County about multiple death threats she had received, including one promising she would not live to see the end of 2018. Deltondo told the Beaver County she had reported the death threats to authorities. You see that? So those death threats there don't seem like they were from Sheldon, right? The way that's worded. Those sound like big-time threats from some higher up. The Beaver County had not publicly identified Deltondo as a source before now, although has information that others became aware of her role. See, this is what's scary. See this? The Beaver Canyon had not publicly identified Deltondo as a source before now, although has information that others became aware of her role after she confided with friends. See, that's exactly what I was even saying here. Can you see how there's a weirdness here? If she confided to Lauren here about what she's doing, looking into corruption in the city officials and police everywhere, and then her father is the sergeant there. Can you see how that might lead back somehow to her not being alive right now? Now, I don't know if that's the way at all, but that's where that initial theory about Lauren, wasn't nefarious probably at all if she talked to her dad like, hey, man, Rachel's doing some crazy stuff. And then he found out about it. And then his wife, they actually took the cell phones, police did, I forgot to mention this earlier. They got warrants for Lauren and Stephanie Watkins' cell phones to check them out. Because she actually works for the state or the city as well. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was like that. Why? Lauren's not a mole. She's just... Rachel would be what you'd call a mole. Yeah. So, wow, that's crazy. I forgot about this stuff right here. So it's neat going back again. The Beaver County had not publicly identified Deltondo as a source before now, although has information that others became aware of her role after she confided with friends. Deltondo told the Beaver County she had also cooperated with investigators with the Pennsylvania State Police and the Organized Crime Section. And see, here's the thing is, does that then bring in Frank Catropa again? Yeah, you see, now we got Frank Catropa, we've got the police, and you've got Sheldon. 3 completely different things that could be related to this. You see, there's 3 of them. So there's really no way to know if any of them had anything to do with it at all. But my first instinct is Sheldon. Now, was Sheldon, that's just my guess, right? Like, my original theory was that it was Sheldon, but then I came up with those other theories at the same time. But don't you think it's weird that she was looking into organized crime, and then what if her previous fiance was into that kind of stuff? Could that cause extra problems there? Would you be nervous? Let me ask you this. If you were somebody who was into doing let's see, what are they calling that? Organized crime, and you were engaged to somebody. And then you get your engagement's called off, and then that person, you find out that your ex-fiancé, who was with you for a long time, is now working with police in investigating organized crime. What would you do on that? How do you think that would turn out? Yeah, I think Rachel was friends with Lauren, and Lauren, but may have told Lauren what she was doing, and that would create the angle of how it got out to the police. Right. But don't you think that is kind of a creepy little angle there? She had also cooperated with investigators with the Pennsylvania State Police and the Organized Crime Section of the Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office. Deltondo said she had retained Pittsburgh attorney Blaine Jones to assist in her interactions with law enforcement officials. Attorney Jones confirmed his office's representation of Deltondo to Beaver County today, but declined further comment. She confided with Deltondo, told Beaver County she had also cooperated with investigators. Let me see. Let me read up here. The Aliquippa Municipal Building was raided. The Beaver County had not publicly identified Deltondo as a source before now, although has confirmed that others became aware of her role after she confided with friends. Deltondo told the Beaver Countian she had also cooperated with investigators with the Pennsylvania State Police and the Organized Crime Section of Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office. Deltondo said she had retained Pittsburgh attorney Blaine Jones to assist in her interactions with law enforcement officials. But now here's the thing is, if she was, let's say it wasn't related to Frank Catropa regarding organized crime, and it was more just about sort of local drug dealing. Well, it could be at that point that her friendship with Sheldon had something to do with that, right? Because what other angle would she have to be in on the drug deal scene? She had Tyree and Sheldon, and I think we found out, Sheldon does drugs, right? We know that because he was found unresponsive on the street. So maybe she was using him for that, and he found out about that through maybe... so that's another angle that, for a reason that Sheldon would kill Rachel. Let's say that Rachel confided in Lauren, and then Lauren somehow told Sheldon, and then he was like, whoa, man, she's going to be narking on me, and then boom, right? Yeah. I don't agree with that at all. Yeah. I think at the time when she was having sex with him, yeah, but later on she could have been using those friendships to discuss about the organized crime, the drug dealing that goes on in that town. Man, Cairo must really love Rachel. Like, she was just so perfect. Every comment. Like, look at... She wasn't that great, okay? She was doing some weird shit. I mean, she's engaged and with this other guy. Then she's over there doing some crazy crap, going out with the daughter of the same police chief guy, the police sergeant that found her and the guy in the car steamed up. That's crazy. Yeah, it has nothing to do with, you know, I don't think you need to know how the area works and all that to understand it. It seems like a pretty easy... There's just so many angles right now. There's like 3 or 4 angles that sort of work, right? You've got, as this guy just reported in this article, that he put out something about how she was a source for his newspaper, but also she confided in him that she was a source for the state police for organized crime. Don't you find that a little bit weird? Yeah. I mean, I think everybody's kind of aware of parts of towns that have drugs in them and things like that. I mean, if you live there, it would be different, but... yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how anybody looking at this can't see the angles there, though. You've got Sheldon, who was pissed off probably that his brother, half-brother, is now with the girl that he wanted to be with. And then, you know, there was other incidents where the half-brother said that he threatened Rachel's life, right? So then you have a night where he's totally aware, basically stalking them, texting, knows exactly where they are. He's like, where the hell are you? Then she gets home, and then she ends up dead. So you have that angle. Then you have the angle where she's a confidential informant for the newspaper, and the word gets out that she's doing that. Did one of the friends that she told tell the wrong person, and then some people in law enforcement got nervous, and maybe they took her out, you know? Or was it the angle that the organized crime, maybe Frank had something to do with something like that? Just totally speculating here. And he had something, right? My thing is, I think all the evidence to me, if you know, not that there's a lot of great evidence, but the circumstantial evidence is going to be Sheldon. That's what I think. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what those rumors would mean up there, but I do think, if you go look at it, yeah, I don't think she was friends, like Cairo was saying, with Lauren because she was some weirdo or whatever. It just seems like I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know why she didn't have more friends that were older. She did too, though. I mean, there was one friend that came forward, but I don't think there was anything like that. Like she was trying to get information from her, but it makes you wonder about some of the other friendships, because if she was working for the state police as a organized crime informant, part of your job doing that would be to make friends with people that would actually know the answers to that, right? Really? You've been around weirdo teachers? Man. Or you meant haven't? Well, I mean, I don't know about that, Wendy Lou, because what if she was friends with Kenneth Watkins here? Because Kenneth Watkins is the officer who found Rachel and Sheldon in the car, and I don't know which one of these, if it was Francis or Kenneth here, who were going to take Sheldon in. So that's probably why they didn't want to make the report about it. I don't know, but it's just sort of weird that now she's friends with Lauren here, the daughter of the officer who found them in the car, right? I mean, there's just all there are weird teachers? What are you saying, Cairo? What are you saying? Yeah, that's what I think. Well, that's why I have 4 theories in this one. And they're all just as valid. Well, I think the most valid one is Sheldon. I really do. I mean, especially now, given the fact that he just is he's been arrested and charged with murder of somebody else, firing at them multiple times. So it makes you kind of think that I would give him about 70% and then 15 to the other theories. You mean alien abduction? Yeah. Or Anadarko oil. I knew it. He was coming up with that one. Here it comes. One of these days they're going to hear us say that all the time and get angry. What do you mean now I just think about this case in a different way? I don't get it. I don't even get the sentence. Like now? Was it different before? Or married one of the football players? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really likely that Sheldon did this. It's all circumstantial. Yeah. Well, what's the way you think of it? Type in what you think may have happened to her. Because doesn't it seem more likely that Sheldon did something, given what he just did, and that he's always been a suspect in the case? And he has the classic. Now, I think it could be that Sheldon did it, but he was doing it as a proxy for somebody else. Like he was pissed too, and he goes, God, I'll do it, and it could have been for some other reason. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure of Sheldon. I'm just saying he's always been, based on those text messages, he knew exactly where they were going to be and why aren't they home now? It's already closed. See, that's why he typed in, Hanks is closed, right? Or it's closed already, because he knew, wait, where are you? You should already be back by now. So he's out there waiting around at her house, knowing that eventually Rachel would be dropped off at her house. No, forget it, Cairo. You don't agree. I'm just telling you that I think he's the most likely, and that, there's just other angles that are possible out there, given the fact that she was a confidential informant for the newspaper, okay? And then she was also working with the state police to uncover organized crime, okay? And there was other people we found out about that. So are there anybody here that put a 1 in earlier that are now just like, wow, this is interesting. How the hell? Put a 1 if you... Now you're like, this is interesting. Holy shit. And I only want the ones from the people who put a 1 earlier who had never heard of it. They all probably left. Oh, I guess we have a long lag. Oh, you got a few in there. Oh no, you can't get a recap. Come on, you don't agree, Cairo. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. I didn't win you over. That's, you know what, why he said that. Gray, you won me over. That's the same thing he does when he's on a call and he says, "I hear a ding." I want to get out of here. Yep. Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad you guys found that interesting. A hell of a lot less ones now than there was earlier, though. I'll tell you that. So most of the ones probably got the hell out of here when they realized it was too complicated. What? How did I cut out? What do you mean I cut out? I lost audio. Oh, you lost audio. Oh, okay. Well, you're putting a 1 in. If you're one of the people who typed a 1 earlier who hadn't heard of the case, but now are really interested in it, like, wow, I understand what you're talking about. I mean, it's really complicated. It's unreal, really. Yeah, well, they were looking at her messages. I don't know if there was anything specific in the messages. I don't remember that. Well, good for you, Beach Girl. Good for you. Did you know any of these people? If you did, then I'll be interested. Oh, okay, cool, Tiffany. Yeah. Well, I'm jazzed up because I'm back into being interested in this one again. It's like I hadn't thought of it for so long, but right now I'm like, yeah, God. You see Lori walk by right there? My green screen's not working very well. You know what they need to invent is a green screen that's self-lighting, that creates its own sort of really dim light, and you don't need lighting to light the green screen. That would be incredible, because then it would have a nice... You wouldn't have to have lights kind of filling in the green screen behind you. Yep, that's Lori right there. Let me see if I can fix this thing. I don't like how it... That's better, yeah. A little better right there. See? Not quite as fuzzy right over here on the side. Allegations involving corruption in Beaver County are currently the subject of inquiry by the Pennsylvania statewide investigating grand jury. The Aliquippa Municipal Building was raided by investigators with the Pennsylvania State Police back in March after a second confidential source for the Beaver County Countyan began informing state authorities about other alleged improprieties involving city officials. So now he has another source, the Beaver Countyyan does. That source voluntarily revealed to investigators they had been informing this publication's reporting. Wow. Well, you better watch out for her, too. I'm not sure I would be a confidential informant so easily when, you know, the last one didn't survive. But I think they're safer now because everyone's looking at it. So it's harder to do something nefarious and sort of hide you doing it. Let's see. Yeah, he does work hard. He never has any glasses. He's just miming it, though. Notice that? He's just kind of miming. Hey, can you get me another rum and coke, sir? Sir, can you get me another coke? Yes, I saw her trip. Can you give me a coke? Okay, thank you. All right, good. Yes, I made the bar scene animation, the whole thing there. Yep. It's the same thing. Have you seen my rap, Wendy Lou? It's the same, same deal there. Has everybody in here seen my rap? The one with the 3D dancer and everything? It's weird how it seems like people that are regular viewers say, "Oh wow, I just saw that the first time." And I'm wondering, like, how did you not see it yet? It's got Lori Daybell dancing on the screen. Yeah, well, I didn't make the bar. That's a photograph, but I made layers out of it. I could do the bar, but it wouldn't look like a photograph like that. But I made the character a layer, and he's just behind it, and it was easy to make it look like that. And then we did it on the show, actually. Do you guys remember the show I did where we already had the bartender, I think, and then we did a whole bunch of different Lori stumbling and walking and adding it to the scene. Like right there, she tripped over. And basically, I have a play-by-play for what she's doing. So when she first comes in, she just walks by, right? And then later, she gets a call about the life insurance policy. She's on the phone right there. Oh wow, I'm gonna get a cool mill. Oh yeah, woohoo! Man, I'm gonna get a cool million. This is gonna be great. Man, I'm so happy about it. I am absolutely just giddy. Look at, I'm gonna do a jig across the room because I'm so happy. I'm gonna get $1 million. Yeah. And then as she walks by, and a few minutes later, she finds out the news that she's not going to get a nickel from that life insurance policy, and walks back into the scene and basically falls right on her face, okay? That should be coming up here. Any day now, Lori. No, actually, she's yelling, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Oh, shit. So there she goes. There she goes. Yeah. Yeah, we were doing it on the show. Oh yeah? Yeah, send me a link on Facebook. I'll get the frozen yogurt one out there. This is Cairo over at Hank's Frozen Custard, I mean. Let me see if he has it. I don't... let's see, is that it? Okay. All right, there it is. Hank's, Frank. That's Frank Katropra, but at Hank's Frozen Custard. Ding 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 ding. 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 All right, stop. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely recording here. Ding 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 ding. Oh, okay. This was like 2 years ago, I think. Hell, let's see. Well, nah, it was actually not that long ago. So we must have covered it about a year ago, June 28, 2019. Look at all your comments. He's coked out, definitely tweaking, methed up. He's methed up, he's geeked out. Oh, wow. Listen, I don't think he's on drugs at all. I just think Hank's frozen custard is that good.
I'm not mad or not. It's not a big deal.
Look at, he can't wait to get the damn stuff. He's just like, come here, hurry up, give me the damn custard.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Give me my yogurt, give me my custard, yeah. Give me my custard. You know what's cool is he pretty much keeps the guy's face out of it the whole time. But right now he's filming sideways while ordering frozen custard.
Are you signed up for the rewards? $2.96.
The stealth videographer.
Ma'am, why you have the drawer open? Could you break a 5 and all 1 so I can tip you guys? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now you got his face on. Ding, 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 ding.
You have your, you have your business hours posted anywhere?
We're open from 11 to 10:30.
Man, look at he was social distancing even back then, everybody. Waiting for his. He didn't get right behind the guy. He got into a social distancing stance. But I think anybody would practice social distancing when anywhere around anybody like that. You know those guys that talk as they're walking down the street? Yeah. Does anybody ever stand right next to them? No. You go about as far away as you can. You know what I'm more amazed about? That he didn't drop a damn thing. He didn't drop anything. Like, how come he didn't drop like a one of those dollar bills or part of the... Something should have dropped. Oh, man. Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Yeah, well, we might get some more stuff going on in Beaver County. Maybe we'll get Cairo to go out there. He doesn't live too far away from there, so he could drive out there. Yes, delusional lucidity, I did. Yeah. Well, everybody, I think I'm about all showed out for tonight. That's been 2.5 hours. Hopefully you guys have as good a feel as you can for the Rachael Deltondo case. But as you can see, just by reading some of these articles, there's a little bit more detail on all the different spots. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's mentally draining every single time because every time you say something, oh wait, I forgot about the... Yeah, who knows? It could, the rabbit hole could be really shallow. For example, if it is Sheldon and it was just out of jealous rage, then that's it. The rest of it was just interesting shit that you might get paranoid about, but didn't actually happen. If it wasn't Sheldon, then I think it gets really deep at that point, in my opinion. I think if it's not Sheldon, and now that's what the problem is people will go out there and try to disprove Sheldon in social media world so that they can make it deeper and more interesting and just really cool and conspiratorial and get more views. I don't do that. I just go with what seems the most logical. To me, Sheldon's always seemed to be the most logical. However, it's not illogical at all to consider those other angles. All right? But the things that bug me about Sheldon are that text message exchange that showed that he was absolutely aware of where everybody was and seemed to be getting irritated and upset. The fact that he gave police different clothing when they told him to bring in the clothing he was wearing. He brought different clothing in, apparently, than the clothing that he was wearing on surveillance just earlier in the evening. Well, Gray could have changed clothes. Well, you got me there, okay? You got that, and there's other stuff too. I mean, his brother's dating him. He's threatened her before. She was even worried about Sheldon to her mom, and so you have those things in there. And now it looks like Sheldon may have killed somebody else similarly.
Awesome show as always, appreciate it. Gray growing heart, Cairo rocks, blue shoes and all, face with tears of joy, kissing face with smiling eyes, growing heart.
Blue shoes. Oh yeah, those damn blue shoes. Wow. Maybe he bought those for Blue, like in honor of my dog Blue that he likes so much. I wonder if that's possible. Yeah, thanks everybody. And thank you, Miss Skis. Alright, so let me, here we go. Thank you to, I got new members, Sylvia Marie, Carla Hussey, I hope I'm saying that right. Could be Husey, but it's Hussey, and then Jen H. They're new members, and then for Super Chats, Paisley Dreams, Carrie Boyer, and then Carla. Did I say Carly? I think I meant Carla. Carla Hussey again on a Super Chat. Thank you. And then Claudia Neubauer, Miss Skis, Carrie Boyer, the one-eyed Jack, Carrie Boyer, who lost an eyeball. I'm not playing that down at all, but for some reason there's humor value to it to me. Her husband was mowing the lawn and a shard of glass went and hit her eyeball and she lost her eyeball. But the part that's funny to me, if you can actually find something funny, is that same night she was in here watching a show. She said, "Oh God, everybody, I just lost my eyeball today." And I was like, "What the hell are you doing here then?" Yeah, it's crazy. That's the part that's funny to me. Hopefully you guys can get a little bit of that humor value in there. I think she thought it was sort of funny herself when I mentioned it. But yeah, I was like, you must think this is the greatest show that ever was, to lose an eyeball and then come in here and watch. Yep, good night, Beach Girl. All right, and then we've got Gloria Batari, Amy Higg, Karen K with the cat eye donation, Cairo, Sherlock Hemlock, Delusional Lucidity, and Miss Skis. And I'm checking my email sometimes. Oh, and then I got a new patron, Samantha Presley. Thank you very much. Wow, cool. I lost a patron and got a patron. So thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, that's it for the emails. Uh-oh, just lost the link there. Gotta go back into it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my favorite place. I always feel peaceful just flying around here because... Oh, man. Look how I'm not sure. Let me hit this repair tool. See, every once in a while Google Earth sucks, and then you have to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. Clear disk cache. Let's see if that works. Switch between... How about we switch that one? Try all these different things here. All right. Able to start right down. Ooh, man, I got stuck in the wall there. Right there. Isn't that awesome? Right there. Okay, good. Okay. So did you guys, most of you have a good time on the show? At least it was interesting, right? Covered a lot of stuff, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hey, there's Stacy Galloway. I guess you've been there. I just hadn't seen you. She sent a picture in with her and her husband wearing "We Are Freaks" shirts. It was awesome. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Better than those shows that I sometimes I have shows where I'm done. I'm just, hey, yikes. And, you know. This isn't one of those, though. It felt pretty good. Not too often I have the bad ones. Those are the shows that don't make it out. Sometimes, but what I've been doing lately is I'll cut out the parts that I thought were good and make standalone videos that people can watch. I think that's been working pretty well. So, hey, let's do the flyby, everybody. For those of you who haven't seen it, check it out. We play a song, and the song just happened to be called Furious Freaks. All right. I mean, that wasn't intentional. Well, I hope not, Cairo, but you never know. I know there's a few that... Gray, you were so mean to me. Thanks, Sasha. Is there anybody out there that doesn't want to go here? Put a 1 if you don't want to go here. Should I do another round? One more? I always picture this being a city, but they don't touch the rocks at all. You know, they put a golf course through some of the canyons. People live, you know, an apartment right back in there or something, you know, but don't touch the rocks. And look at that. Look how crazy that is right there. Look at that. You know, have a little neighborhood right there. Another one right there. And here's another neighborhood. People live in there. Yeah, like Adobe. Look at that. Live right up there, a park. Of course it would ruin the land, but everybody. Thank you all for showing up tonight and supporting the channel. Thanks to all the the new Patreon members, the new channel members, everybody watching, everybody doing super chats. Really appreciate it. We're going to be donating a large chunk of money again on probably 30th or 31st of the month. We'll see how that goes. But definitely this month at one of the dates, right at the end. All right. And this month I'm going to probably do half goes to the Kyron Horman Foundation, earmarked for Allison Watterson. And then the other half, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, what was the other one that we were thinking about? What was that one? You guys remember the other? You have to remind me of that one. God dang, what was that one? Shoot. Probably should have wrote it down. But anyways, I don't remember the name of it. Anybody out there with a better memory than I? Yeah, there you go. The Innocence Project. Maybe we should give that one a whirl. I totally agree. I'm on board with that one. I think they're awesome. You know what's weird is that before I was doing true crime, I really didn't think of any of that stuff very much. I was just, yeah. You know, the Innocence Project, I think, has probably been almost the most important organization created for in almost like in the entire law enforcement. I don't even know the whole legal world in terms of people that are in prison, because they have freed so many people that were wrongfully convicted. And the fact that we have so many that have been released is really pretty scary shit, man. I mean, the fact that I say this a lot, that we have, when DNA started being used to free people, something like 25 or 30 people were exonerated off of death row because they weren't actually the killer. And then you have to then extrapolate backwards and say, well, prior to 1990, when we weren't even doing DNA, how many people were executed that committed murders like in 1970 or something like that? And they were executed and they didn't do it. Because there is zero chance that we haven't executed innocent people. Now the thing is I'm actually for the death penalty in situations where it's 100%. Like, these people that were innocent, that were on death row, were absolutely screwed over by a prosecutor out there that just needed to get something. Because when you realize that they were innocent, how did they sell an innocent person to a jury? Well, because the jury all has a bias towards a prosecution, and they were just able to sort of finagle different facts and sell it to a jury. And man, that's scary right there. So it's so great that there's an organization out there that is looking to free people, and they vet these people too, and they look at the case and they find the ones that they truly believe are innocent people. So we have to find a way where if you're going to do executions they should be really rare and to the worst of the worst with absolutely 100%, like there's DNA, it's on video, a whole realm of things that have to be in place. Because, man, you can sell ice. I'm going to say ice to an Eskimo, but you can sell anything you want to a jury willing to hear it. Okay? And that's the sad part. So, anyways, that's my comments for the day. I've said it before on here, but thought I'd say it again. So, man, you're still talking about Thomas Bruce. God. Come on, Sasha. Jesus, man. Anyways, thanks, everybody, for showing up tonight. And that's it. Make sure you're all still washing your hands. Wear your mask when you go out into public, into a store. Maybe if you're outside, you can take it off here and there. But definitely wear it if you go into any kind of a store or anything like that. Okay? And the main thing is washing your hands before you eat anything. Got to do that. All right, everybody. That's it for the show tonight. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
Oh yeah, here we go, 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 here we go.
That is a
crime dissector.
Plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya.
Gonna sketch ya.
If you try and play me like an old
Go Lori, go Lori, go Lori.
Nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector.
Go Lori.
Deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just
Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you.
Hey, John boy, that was a cool show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, you know, I liked it. I've heard it before, though. I sort of share brains with the creator of this channel.
What do you mean you share brains? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, so do you. What are you talking about, Mary Lou? Jesus, you're crazy.
Well, I particularly liked the Rachael Deltondo part. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Okay, good night, Mary Lou. Jesus.
Good night, John boy. God, you don't have to be so mean about it. Good night.
Oh, and be safe out there.